We live! We live! Welcome to Speculation Sunday!
On a Monday.
On a Monday! I just want to start off by saying, Ali A, I apologize. I don't know how I double-clicked hide user, but you are definitely not, it was not an intentional. So I just want to let Ali A know. Ali A, could you put a comment just to let me know that you're in there still?
Poor Ali A.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to put we live, and it just said you hit a user, and I was like, oh, who did I hide? And then it finally popped up. It was Ali A. Ali A, I apologize. Total incorrect error. So I hope she comes back. I pinned her comment. Oh my gosh. Freaking YouTube. All right. On my end, it says she's not hidden anymore. So I hope she comes back. I don't know what happens when you put hide user. Like, does it kick you out? I have no idea. But Ali A, we love you. I hope you come back. My mistake.
I wanted to thank everyone for joining us on this live after D23. I know there's like a ton of people going live tonight, so you might be watching this on a recap. So whoever else, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
I do not see Ali A in here. Where are you at, Ali A? Okay. I hope she just I don't know if you hit hide user if it like bumps you out of the live. I don't know. But Ali A, we love you. We love you. Danny, what an incredible weekend we had. For you, how do you feel about how Friday, Saturday, and Sunday went? From the show floor, the panels, the big panels, organizational aspect of crowd control. What do you think, man? I want to hear your thoughts first. There she is. Ali A's here. Okay, cool. How do you feel, Danny? Let's start off with the D23 experience. I want you to go first.
Yeah. Overall, I wanted to say the D23 event, in my opinion, overall, minus like the shuttle situation, was like probably the most organized, the most like no issue like situation. I feel like we always have major issues at D23 with like letting people in and like getting people like into the show, and I feel like
virtual queues. Is this a line?
And it felt like for the like minus a few things here and there, like Ravensburger, even though they were kind of like an S show, like they did the best that they could for what they were given, right? Like they didn't really have a lot of help from Disney to like kind of help that space, and they could only put so many people there with that before they started getting yelled at by security in the event. So but I feel like the organization getting in, getting out, the organization at all the booths, the callbacks, the notifications getting pushed out on the app, letting you know when standby was open for certain things. They were like pretty open and transparent on a lot of stuff. It just felt really organized. I didn't really feel like there was some glaring issue, at least for my experience, all 3 days, that like was a problem.
Yeah.
I know people had like a big problem getting back and forward on the shuttles, but like I don't really see how you can make that a better experience. Honestly, I think you got
transporting
14,000 people. Yeah, 12 to 14,000 people trying to get on a shuttle all at once. It's like they did the best they could with that. I don't think that's always going to be a shit show no matter what.
There was no way to do that fast. It was always going to be a struggle. So it is and I think everybody kind of knew that. Real quick, Danny. Demi. What? Oh, wrong one.
I saw Demi. I saw like clips of Demi and Noah on stage, and I was like, dude, that would literally make me so nervous to be on stage with all those people, like 12,000 people. But Demi looked like a natural up there. Noah was a little nervous, you could tell.
Yeah, Demi, fired up. We love you too. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? $200. What? Wow. Thank you, Demi. I don't know how you stood. I don't know how you stood up there with like 12, 13,000 people, and I would have been shaking. I feel like it's too much, dude. Because like that energy was so high too at that point when you guys got on stage. But thank you, Demi. We love you so much. By the way, Jonas Brothers coming to Yamava. Check out Yamava's Instagram. Demi has to be like the most excited out of that announcement. Oh, I was not okay. I blacked out. Yeah,
Blacked out.
I don't know how like singers and all that do that stuff, man. It's wild. Um, the David Blaine trick is still mystifying. I missed the trick. I had to end my live and just do dad duties. What was the trick, Danny? Like, how did it all play out?
I didn't see the whole thing either. No one posted like the whole thing. I just saw like a few clips here and there. So like I don't know what the full trick was.
Yeah,
I mean it wasn't streamed because of that panel wasn't streamed.
mm-hmm.
And like I still haven't come across a clip that had like the whole magic trick. At least
I've just seen
I'm
photos.
sure there's one on YouTube. I'm sure there's one on YouTube, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, because they didn't let people stream that one. We got Andrew Ford dropping a super chat. Thank you, Andrew Ford. Fired up. Fire it up. Let me give my thoughts, Danny. D23 was an incredible experience. I felt it was the most organized I've seen it out of the last three that I've attended. And I really felt like when there was issues where it was like overcrowding or like people didn't know what they were doing, it seemed like they were ready to throw more cast members and like fix the issue, create another line, create another queue for like, backup purposes or whatever. I just felt like things, when the issues arose, they handled it very fast. And this D23, I don't have nothing I could pinpoint at, Danny, where I was like, they did this one thing really bad. I don't have nothing. I literally don't have nothing. Yeah. I didn't go to the convention, so like I didn't experience the shuttle thing. But like I feel like I already knew that was going to be bad. I just knew.
Yeah. Some people in here were saying they didn't have a bad experience with the shuttle. I was just going off my experience, like leaving the park panel. I mean, I was kind of in Mondo's live. I was doing the best I could. I could barely hear everyone. We were literally shoulder to shoulder with people stuck in a crowd. So thankfully, I don't have like claustrophobia like that. And we were just stuck because, there was like 12,000 people simultaneously trying to wait in what you could sort of expect to be a queue as best as possible, minus everyone trying to go to the intersection. And then they were just stuck because you got to wait for the light to turn, right?
Yeah.
So that's where that's why I was just standing there, because like we were waiting for the light to turn green and thus be able to cross the street.
Did you hear about the Lorcana fight on Friday?
No, I
my buddy Rick. Shout out to Rick. That's how I was able to go on Friday. Thank you for gifting me the pass. There was a full-blown fight at 9 a.m. and he said they took care of it immediately. So that's what I'm saying. It was just maybe they've learned from the last two D23s. But I want to say other stuff too about D23. I felt like this was the most entertaining D23 because I felt like I couldn't get to all the cool stuff because there was so many cool stuff. I really feel, say you weren't all about just purchasing things. There was a million photo ops. There's a million things to walk through and look at and absorb and like interact with. And at the same time, like there was really cool interactive experiences where like your whole day's made where, you get to meet Groot, a talking Groot that interacts like virtually, or I don't even know how the hell they were doing that. I just felt like previous D23s, Danny, it didn't hit like that. I felt like I went on Friday, I was done. I didn't have to come back the other 2 days. This one,
Yeah.
it seemed like, especially Imagineering Pavilion with the continual Imagineers talking like every 15 or 20 minutes. I thought that was an awesome experience. And then like with the whole unveil on Sunday, it made like Imagineering Pavilion like new again, and you want to hang out in there. And I just was blown away. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed D23. Like it makes me like I was at the point where I didn't care about D23 because I didn't buy a ticket. But next D23, I will do everything I can to go to all the panels and even the Honda Center if that's what they do again. If we have the opportunity.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say real quick. Yeah, I feel like they. You mentioned how like they threw cast members when they had problems at the situation. I feel like that's true. Like we have to remember Hall D, and then little bits of Hall E were combined in the past to be Hall D23, which is where they had the presentations. And
Yeah.
now this year, if you guys went to D23, or if you've seen like my content on Twitter and Mondo's vlogs, I have videos coming out too. But if you saw the section where they had all the cars parked, and then they also had the new Walt Disney Company store, plus a premiere stage, or I think it was called Spotlight Stage. That whole section was added onto the show floor because they didn't have Hall D23. And so I feel like they did have those extra cast members available to just throw them at, like Mondo said, at a situation where it got too busy in one area, they needed to have more control. It was really easy for them to do that because they didn't have a panel going on at 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning with 7 to 8,000 people in it that needed to be fully staffed with cast members, and then also fully staffed for when that giant crowd all emptied out at the same time right onto the floor. And so that I think is oh, there.
I found it. There's no video. I don't have a video, but there's photos. I knew I had a photo somewhere. No, but keep going, Daddy. Keep going.
I feel like it's agreed. It was really organized, and then also with the Imagineering Pavilion, I liked the way they did that too. In years past, they've done that where they've had a section closed off, and they've unveiled it for later in the expo when they were able to announce something that wasn't previously announced. Then they could show that new space.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish about the Imagineering Pavilion is that it seems like lately, ever since the first year of the expo, they really just haven't gotten it right as far as like the layout of the Imagineering Pavilion. Especially this year, it felt like it was a maze. It's like way too confusing, and even the cast members couldn't figure it out. And they took a few tries in the morning for them to actually figure out how to put the queue in so that people could see both of the reveal rooms. But I remember the first year of Mondo, the Imagineering Pavilion, you couldn't see in it at all. It was completely closed off, and you had to wait in line outside, and then you were brought in just like the National Geographic one in groups. And they had a whole pre-show, and then they had this like magic moment where like Tinkerbell like waved her wand, and then it like opened up and revealed like this giant cruise ship that they had there, and then a bunch of other stuff. And then you would walk in, do your thing, and then leave. And it just made like an easy flow, so you could go in and like do everything. And I felt like this way is just a little too confusing.
This was Imagineering Pavilion last time, right? Wonderful World.
That was the Imagineering Pavilion last time, yeah, 2022. Yeah.
I like the flow of this one.
It was good. It was good. It just that one specifically didn't have any reveals. So that one was the same basically the whole time. So there was no reveals, nothing that changed. They had those like little puppets and stuff. It did have a good layout in the sense that you could start from one end and exit out the other.
Yeah.
But there was no reveals, so I mean, it wasn't that exciting. Other than you saw like cool models and stuff. But this one was exciting in the sense that there was a whole section to see that was new. But I went to the Imagineering Pavilion. You could
only see it Sunday. You could only see it Sunday.
I went to the pavilion on Sunday night. 6:30, they had already closed the line, and it was still all the way around the whole thing.
We got Benji, 27 months. 27 7 months. Benji, let's go. Fired up. For all the park announcements, I'm going to stay hopeful. Most of it comes to fruition. Before we get into all of that, do you get the sense that Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, they're going to follow through? Or we're going to get Epcotted? I don't know how else to say it. Just Epcotted.
Well, I think Josh started off the presentation by saying that, like, look, this is in development. We are planning all of these things now. Um, you know, a lot of these things are probably going to take place over the next 5 to 7 years. They're not going to
Yeah.
be like immediate things. Some of them will be, but not all of them. And so a lot can change in the world, between in 5 to 7 years. So, we wouldn't have thought that in 2019 that everything would shut down for COVID. So, barring any like crazy world situations that would affect budget or crazy company stuff, I feel like they want to get it right. And in years past, like Epcot got ravaged because they started the teardown in pre-COVID, and
Mm.
then the teardown was already done, and then in the parks shut down, and there was no construction happening, and then the parks they were able to start working on it again, but budgets had to be cut because Disney Parks wasn't making any money; it was just sitting closed.
Literally
So
everything closed. Literally.
yeah, so Epcot, unfortunately, being one of everyone's favorite parks, saw the brunt end of the budget cuts during the Chapek era, when he had to try to save the company from destruction during COVID. So
It is a different era in the sense that, like, we have Bob Iger at the helm, and we've seen many big projects come to fruition with Bob Iger. And
yeah, we also have Bruce Vaughn too, who's
Bruce Vaughn, exactly. That's what I was going to get
yeah.
into. And him coming back, I think,
Mhm.
allows the confidence to create these budgets, to create these things in development, actual concept art that will be followed through. I'm in the boat of, like, I think these things will look like that. It will be proper and not some budget cut garbage that just limped to the finish line. I feel very confident, Danny. From especially Josh starting everything, like how you're saying, like, these things are in development, and then how he ended it is that all of this will be done in 5 years. I've never heard a D23 like that, right? Where they're like, every goddamn thing we just announced, all of it done in 5 years. What?
Yeah, well, I
That's
had heard that I had heard that Josh and the team, they heard everyone's feedback. They heard that last expo during the presentation, they didn't enjoy it, and people had really negative experience. And I think a difference between maybe someone like Josh and someone else that would be presenting, he took the feedback and he wanted to make sure that what they talked about is stuff that they could confidently say they
yeah,
had greenlit and
yeah,
it was happening. So he wanted to make sure right away, and I feel like that's a good thing. Like that was really great fan service. I feel like the whole panel for that at Honda Center was fan service between the Soren intro. They brought all the actors back from even the safety video. That I don't they had to must have contact those people back
yeah.
in the day to do
Like,
that.
how do they get those contacts again? Because we're talking, like, what,
I know,
20 years later? 20 years later?
I know. And then they had a like I forgot who it was singing. Maybe it was Pentatonics. They were singing "We Go On"
Mm-hmm.
from Illuminations, which is like everyone's favorite show at Epcot. That part freaked me out. I was like, I love this because I love Illuminations is my favorite show ever. So that was like really cool to see. So I felt like there was a lot of they took the feedback and like brought fan favorite stuff. Right? I mean, we had the Mad Tea Party playing resurrected in their original costumes, which they had to bust out of the archives from years ago to put them back on. Probably had to redo the costumes a little bit to make them look nice. And they brought the same band back and had them perform for everyone while they were taking their seats. I mean, they really were like, hey, let's make this let's make this have value, not only for the fact that they wanted to try to one up the year before, but because they also wanted to bring value for the fact that people bought tickets to go see this.
Yeah.
This wasn't just something they could do as simple as it was last time, where it was free and included, and it was basically just like if you made it, you made it, and if you didn't, you didn't.
Yeah.
And
How do you
so
feel about the it being monetized now? You got to pay more money to do that. How do you feel? Is it good? Step in the right direction? Because for me, Danny, watching as an outsider, I wanted to be there. I wanted to experience that because you're surrounded by 12, 13,000 people for the love of Disney, and everybody is like reacting at the same time. That must have been a crazy moment, dude, or just feeling, continual feeling.
yeah, they tried to make it like a concert. They gave everyone those light up wristbands that a lot of artists use in their concerts, um, so that the audience would would light up in certain ways. They had like musical presentations in between each thing. Um, it was quite a performance. I
Did
don't necessarily.
did the music overwhelm you, or it just fit in good? Like it was a good fit.
It fit in good for me. It was like it was overwhelming because I was trying to tweet out everything live while
It's,
it was happening,
it's
and
too
so
hard, huh?
the music was actually really nice because every time the music went on, I was able to get some tweets out
Yeah,
while that was happening.
little break.
Uh,
But
yeah, a little break.
you think next year it's a must? You got to get the Honda no matter what.
Yeah, I think I'll do the same thing that I did this year. I was okay with. I was talking to Mouse Vibes and Ordinary Adventures. They're actually both live right now. So when our live's over, you guys can go watch their recaps for sure because I'm sure they talked a lot about a lot of great stuff. But both of them went to every Honda Center panel, and they're just like dead to the world. And I did 3 days in Convention Center from basically open to like almost close, and I did 1 day in Honda Center, and I can't imagine if I did all three Honda Center days, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I like what I did. I went all 3 days convention and 1 day Honda Center, and I think I'll do that again the next time we have Expo if it's here.
Yeah.
I hope it's here, but if it's the same setup, that's what I'll do again.
All right. All right. All right. Um, I got to start off all these. Today is only Disney. I know people want to talk some horror nights, some scary farms. All that's
That's
around
coming
the
this
corner.
weekend.
Yeah, this weekend,
Because
Sunday.
next week we're gonna have the Scary Farm announcement event.
Scary Farm. Horror Nights will have its full unveiling too. Like they got one or two things left.
Mondo, are you gonna be able to before we transition? Are you gonna be able to go to Knott's this week and do any sort of like pre-construction update before we get the announcement, or are you gonna wait?
I don't have a Knott's trip in my mind planned right now. I think I'm gonna say no Knott's right now, mainly because I want to see what Fright Fest is doing. I think my Knott's trip will be Fright Fest instead. So I'll be in the 100-degree weather at some point this week at Six Flags. But I think Knott's. I might wait to next week. Um, but before we get going, Danny, do you have any content from like YouTube or podcasting that you want to let everybody know?
Yeah, so I'll have a podcast talking about my thoughts just on the parks panel, and I'll maybe cover a little bit about D23 too. That'll post this week, and then I'm going to have two videos, part one, part two, encompassing D23 Day at Disneyland and D23 itself, and those will both be coming out this week, back to back. So I filmed as much as I could. I knew there wouldn't be enough to make like a vlog each day because it's just like you're trying to do so much. It's hard to film at the same time. Mondo knows. So it's
D23
like,
is just you throw a bunch of stuff together and it is what it is. Like there's no story to
yeah.
it. Just
And I
whatever.
was hosting a bunch of people that had never been. So I wanted to like make sure I was having fun time with them too. And, they paid a lot of money to be there. So I don't want to just like walk off and film all the time.
uh, we got Brandon Reyes. Let's get into these announcements, Danny. Mondo, Danny, how do you feel about Avengers Campus expansion and the two new rides that are
There
going
you go,
to be
Mondo.
added? Oh my god, I need this coffee to kick in.
So yeah, let's start off with some of the announcements. So we'll start off with Avengers Campus. You got it up already. Perfect.
Yep. My thoughts is, why did it open so not done? I don't know what to say. It's like, I think they said it's like 50% more is being added. These are gigantic additions that are coming. This like whole show building, which I guess is going to be 2 rides, and it wraps around behind Mission Breakout, King Thanos, and Tony Stark Lab arm thing. I'm very thankful for what these additions are coming. It's really adding to this IP giant that California Adventure is going to soon become. I'm very excited for this edition, because I feel like it's going to be just interconnected to the future of Marvel, because they're going to just throw like 20 Marvel characters in King Thanos. There'll probably be more characters for all we know, but that's my quick thoughts on it before we go deeper in it. What do you think about this expansion, Danny?
Yeah, I think Avengers Campus has always been missing something, right? Other than just shade. There's not a lot of shade in the Avengers Campus.
Look, they're putting trees though right here. That's weird.
But I think it makes a little bit more sense now, when Mondo zooms in on that. Just why maybe they closed the Sanctum. You can kind of still see it there, but it looks like maybe it's repurposed or reused a little way, as they open up that space into like a more like for the backside there.
Mm-hmm.
The Sanctum's still there. You can see it. I just don't know how they plan to use it, but I feel like maybe they wanted to like take a break from that while construction got like a little intense in that back corner. But I would love for you, Mondo, if you could, to put this side by side with the past concept of Avengers e-ticket.
Yeah, let me bring that up. I haven't done that yet. I thought about that, but I haven't done it yet. Let me see. Avengers Campus.
So while you're looking that up, Mondo, a lot of people in the chat are asking me, I don't know if you saw this, Mondo, but inside the store that was on the second floor of the new expansion of the, that was called the World of Disney. And inside there was the Disney D23 Marketplace. That was the store that had the longest line all expo, because it had some like pretty limited stuff in there. But inside that store, they had like a Disney collection, and and one of the shirts, Mondo, right across the chest has a giant Mickey silhouette, and then it said 5571.
What?
And everyone's been talking about it in the chat. I got tagged on it a bunch of times. I did see it, but I didn't really like it the way it was, and it was kind of expensive, to be honest. I think it was like $70 or something like that. So I didn't necessarily want to get it because I was like, I'm not in love with it, but maybe if it goes on sale, I'll get it.
A lot of the D23 merch came to Downtown Disney. I don't know if you saw that, Danny.
It did, yeah. It's in the dress shop today, so that 5571 hoodie is in the dress shop.
Let me see. I'm just going to tweet it out to make this easy. Okay, I got it. Avenger Campus Concept Arts. Let me see. I got it. And I got it. This is an interesting thing to look at, Danny. I'm glad you brought that up. It's tweeting right now. All right, we got it. Where are we at? Let me go to my Twitter. All right, Danny. Here it is. So this is the original that they showed us a long time ago? Pretty much nothing. Not even a hint. They do got a lot of grass there, though. But look at the difference, Danny. That's the original, and then that's the current.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's weird. Even I was actually referred to like a different concept art, but this is good too in the sense that the original concept art actually showed. So today we walk in the Avengers headquarters, and they list that as the Avengers Vault, the store, right?
Yeah.
But on the original concept art, you walk through that doorway to get into the attraction.
There's an older one, huh? Hold on.
Yeah. And so that concept art, I was just going to say, it's funny how they kind of just gave up on that idea, and they're just going to keep the Avengers Vault store as is. And then they're opening the wall next to the headquarters to bring you into the new land.
Oh, my
or
God.
New portion of the land.
Here, I think I found the one that you're talking about. Dude, there's like 3 versions of this.
There's been 4.
Or is it 4?
Yeah.
Let me see. Look, Danny.
Yeah. That was like the OG one.
Was that Tony Stark ride you think thought about at that time? Is that the Tony Stark ride in here, you think?
It could be. I mean, that kind of looks like it now.
It kind of looks like it now, huh? If I go to the concept art, a little bit. Where's the Twitter? Damn, these things have changed a lot, man. Wow. Look at these scan machines that they were thinking of using. Look how futuristic that is. What the heck? Wow. Oh, man. All right, let me go back to Avengers Campus. What do you think about the Infinity Defense? Did it make you more excited, or it's just kind of you don't care?
Well, I've heard a lot of really good things about, and for those that don't know, the speculation out there, almost like quasi-confirmation, is that the Avengers Infinity Defense is the same exact ride as Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure in the new expansion at Tokyo Disney Springs, or Disney Sea, sorry, called In Fantasy Springs. So if you just want to search Fantasy Springs, Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure, and you watch a ride through of that ride, it has the same exact ride vehicle that they showed at D23, except for theirs is decorated to look like a pirate ship, and ours looks like a portal futuristic hopper, right? And so it's the same technology. So this kind of it's a ride vehicle that travels through a physical ride and in and out of physical sets. And then they have strategically placed screens in between the sets, like whether it's like a window inside a building that you're looking out of, or like a cut hole in the wall, or like you're going around the corner. Very similar to like kind of how when you're on Forbidden Journey of Harry Potter and you seamlessly go from like a physical set into a screen. Like that's how Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure works, and that's how this will work too. So it's a very controlled vision. You can't see left or right. The walls are too high on the ride vehicle, and you're only able to see up and see straight ahead. And you are wearing glasses, so that is something.
Because in the concept art, they don't have glasses, Danny. Right here, watch.
I know, but on Peter Pan's Neverland Adventure, they do. So I don't know. It would be nice if we didn't have to have glasses. If they chose to not do glasses on ours, I would be like 10 times thrilled.
Yeah,
if that was the case. But
I want no glasses too.
Yeah, I don't want glasses either, and I'm sure the cast members that will work that ride don't want glasses either. So
I think they should have had a sizzle reel for King Thanos ride, something instead of just like these images. I don't know. I don't know. It's not doing anything for me. But I am very hyped for the ride whenever it does come. What I'm not hyped for, Danny, is this concoction of a ride. How do you feel about this Forbidden Journey arm ride?
I feel like it's gonna make people like sick.
I think it
It
was
says you go from like one to the next, and it picks you up off of the conveyor belt. But it's like, how many times are you gonna do it? Like that's a lot. It's like,
SoCal Attractions posted a fun video. Uh, are you ready for this, Danny? Look, this is what you're gonna be doing. That looks amazing. That's exactly what I want out of Avengers Campus. Some people were saying that this used to be an Epcot. Do you recall that?
yeah, it was in Interventions.
Was it popular? Was it like a cool thing to do?
Yeah, it was. But theirs was a little bit more interactive. Theirs was called the Sum of All Thrills, and you would design a roller coaster, and then after you designed it, then you would ride it.
Damn, I don't think that's what this is going to be.
No, and even that video that he was showing, that's not even the same because the one from Stark Flight Lab, you're on a conveyor belt, and the robotic arms pick you up off of the moving conveyor belt and have you do your thing, and then they put you back on it again.
Yeah,
So it's a
it,
little different, kind of
it
the same.
it sounds like really cool technology though, because I've never seen a ride do that where it's like conveyor
Yeah,
style.
you know what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's gonna break a lot because it's gonna just imagine they go to take you off the conveyor belt and it doesn't like lock right,
Yeah,
and then it faults, and then you stop. Everyone has to get off.
that was a really ambitious move to do the whole lock in, lock out kind of situation. Uh,
Yeah,
we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. They really, from the things I've heard, this is a ride. This is not going to be stationary. This will be moving. I'm guessing into a show building of some sort. Who knows what'll be in there? But it's cool. It's very cool. I know kids are going to eat it up. I want to move on to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. November 15th. I still can't get my reservation.
more
And
importantly, there's something part of that sentence there that's pretty important.
at the start of the holiday season, and not only that, but Critter Country will appropriately be named Bayou Country. Only person that's been saying that for like, I feel like a year now, Danny.
I said it would be great for them to change Critter Country to Bayou Country because it would make more sense flowing from New Orleans into Bayou Country, and then they did it. So I'm sure they had that same thought all along too.
I
So
feel like Bear Country kind of makes more sense. Hungry Bear, Winnie the Pooh ride, Pooh Corner. You have Country Bears meet and greets, and then I don't know. I don't think there's a bear in Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but I don't know. I just feel like bears. I want bears. How do you feel about Bayou Country, Danny? How do you feel?
I like the name change. I feel like trying to shoehorn Tiana into Critter Country didn't make as much sense as renaming it to Bayou Country, and then changing the theme up a little bit, which sounds like that's what they're doing, right? We're losing kind of a lot of the frontiery vibe, and it's
Yeah.
going more of that bayou swampy kind of feel. And in all reality, like Critter Country was kind of like by itself in this sense because the rest of the space around it was already bayou because New Orleans Square took up so much space on the riverfront along Rivers of America. So it just made more sense to just continue it on, especially with how close Haunted Mansion is to Splash Mountain, where it was before. Now having Haunted Mansion go right into Tiana's Bayou Adventure area and Bayou Country, it kind of thematically seems to make more sense to me.
Um, is Winnie the Pooh going to be gone soon? Like in the next 5 years?
I don't think so. Winnie the Pooh is having such a resurgence, and Disney knows that, and they're really making a lot of new merch for Winnie the Pooh. So I think they know that people really like that attraction. Is there opportunity for it to be
Why?
updated? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Why not do the proper Winnie the Pooh like Tokyo? That same concept. Obviously, don't make
Yeah,
it.
it might, maybe, potentially. I feel like we could see a lot of things, but in addition to Bayou Country getting the new name, I think that's another thing to look out too, Mondo. On the river, Mark Twain Riverboat, you're able to see the Critter Country sign still sitting there in the old Splash Mountain queue. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for now that we know when you're in. When you're going in on the Mark Twain to look for if they've removed the Critter Country sign or not, because
Right.
that's you can keep an eye out for a new Bayou Country sign.
I hope they add a Bayou Country sign. I want that. I want a Bayou Country sign. Um, since we're on the topic of Bayou Country, we got a new foodie guide. Let's go!
Yes, and this is another
Another
change.
thing that Danny
Yeah.
called out. I just want to throw it out there.
So we were talking about out of nowhere, right before D23, Disney announced that Critter or Hungry Bear restaurant was gonna redo into a Country Bear themed barbecue joint, which threw all of us for a loop. But we were talking about on Speculation Sunday how we wish that it would have as good a barbecue um, options as we had at Regal Eagle barbecue place over in Epcot in the American Adventure Pavilion. And it seems like we did. We have some like great brisket sandwiches, some barbecue sandwiches. Did you read that pickle lemonade situation, Mondo? I can tell you right now, I can't have that because it has dairy in it. But B, even if I could, I don't know. My friend Britt, I think she's in the chat here. She got that. She got a pickled Dr Pepper at the fair because that was like a thing
Yeah.
everyone was doing.
What the hell was that, Danny?
But I don't
Pickled
know that I
Dr.
don't know that people are
Pepper?
gonna want this pickle lemonade because there's not only is there lemonade, Sprite, pickle juice, but they also throw in strawberry smoothie. So you got like milk with Sprite and pickle. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Hey, that sounds like churro, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Let me go into this menu, Danny. Let me go into this menu.
But
Um,
there's some things on here that are Mondo's favorite thing ever in the world. So
yeah,
we're
I'll
gonna
get
get
to
to
it. I'll get to it. Look at this stacked lineup, dude. I want to refer back to this. Disney has made such an effort to elevate their food offerings. This is like I can't believe what they're doing. From the downtown Disney to in the park, recently we had the San Francisco. I feel like there's been a big menu change at Pim's Test Kitchen. They've gone to now what is it called? Hungry Bear soon with this the Din Tai Fungs. We're gonna have a steakhouse too in downtown Disney. They did the Mexican places, whatever what was that called again? Centrico.
yeah.
This elevation of food, and we still have that marketplace, that big ass marketplace that's coming soon next to Din Tai Fung. It's just remarkable the food aspect of Disney. Somebody shot for the moon, and they're trying to reach it. They're just trying to reach it. Let me just go briefly into these, Danny. We're gonna get a smoked barbecue combo platter, which is that one at the top left. Wow. Well,
And before we go any further, Ariana Canel Sanchez in the chat, she brings up a good point. Ariana Sanchez, she says, "Does this open before Tiana does?" It does. Disney confirmed, or I think Scott Gustin posted that he had gotten confirmation that it would open soon in the next few weeks. So certainly well before November, and with Tiana. So we'll have. I think Disney's trying to get that bridge open again so people can
quick.
walk around the whole park, and that would include the restaurant, right? Critter Country will probably remain closed up until pretty close to when Tiana's opens, but
They're
this
training.
restaurant will open soon.
They're training Winnie the Pooh cast members, Danny. So maybe Hungry Bear Winnie the Pooh Corner opens, and then just Tiana's just closed off. But I also think it does open early, like very confidently. I say that.
Yeah. So let's go through that.
Barbecue pulled pork sandwich.
That's that one right there.
That's dude. Do you think they're gonna have that much meat when I order it, Danny? Or that this is just?
Yeah, I think so.
You
I don't
think
think
so?
the buns won't look that neat, but they'll have a lot of meat on there.
Uh, Smoked beef brisket sandwich with tangy barbecue. That's this perfection of a sandwich. My gosh.
And Hungry Bear burger fans don't need to fret.
Yep, they still got smoked Angus beef burger and pulled pork with American cheese. Wow.
That's a lot of food on one bun right there.
Every one of these items, Danny, I feel like you're just going to be too full, dude. And I like that they went with the potato wedges. Disney don't do that. I can't recall a place that they do that. Maybe the curly film strip fries at Award Wiener, kind of. This is remarkable. I'm freaking excited. This is where things got a little weird. Corn ribs plate. You ever had corn ribs?
Well, the thing that's weird about this is that I'm kind of bummed that, and I told Wanda this on the phone. I'm kind of bummed that this is the plant-based option.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
I'm kind of bummed that this is the plant-based option because this is essentially just a corn on the cob that's been cut so that it looks like ribs, and that's kind of a bummer. That's kind of a bummer that that's your entree on the plate, and then your sides are the French fries and the slaw. Like it's probably, and they're probably going to charge like what $16+
Easy.
for this plate. And you're just paying for corn. Like there's not really like a good hearty like protein there. You're just getting corn, fries, and slaw. So I don't know that that's necessarily the best option for
plant-based.
I feel like corn ribs would have been a really cool thing as a side. Like
Instead of the French fries, the corn ribs should have been.
Yeah, people would have been like, "Oh my god, corn ribs, get them!" But like having that as your entree, it's kind of weird.
Is there a plant-based item that stands out to you at Disneyland, like a current one, or no?
They could have done like a big portobello mushroom burger that's like that's like smoked or like barbecued or something. That could have been really good.
You know who also hits a home run on the plant-based stuff? Paradise Garden Grill every time over there at by Goofy Sky School. They got like 4 offerings of plant-based a lot of the time. We're gonna have loaded fries topped with smoked pulled pork. Loaded.
That's right there.
With jalapeno, dude. Sheesh. And then a classic cheeseburger, of course. Beer battered. I don't know what the heck. Beer batter fries. Chicken tender plate. So they still Disney ain't messing that up. The fundamentals are still there.
Yeah. Thing going away.
Oh, they're just considering these beer batter fries. Okay, I guess. Baked beans, house slaws, your signs. They got the kids' meals. But here we go, Danny. Banana pudding. Banana pudding, whipped cream, crushed wafer cookies, dulce de leche, and toffee. Wow!
Mondo's going to get like 3 of these.
Making it look like a trifle. Hungry Bear has never had anything like that. I don't recall them ever. No,
they're like the funnel cake place and like the ice cream sundae place.
And look, Danny, this is the interesting part. They're going to funnel cake fries now. How do you feel?
Yeah, that's like Award Wieners.
Yeah, I have a feeling they might not do funnel cakes anymore at Hungry Bear. And then they got the sparkling strawberry pickle lemonade. Okay. Strawberry shortcake lemonade and a lemon iced tea. The lemon iced tea is the one that's calling my name. Look at the amount of ice they're giving me there. That's a nice ice to drink ratio.
Yeah, I like the lemon iced tea too.
Some bang for my buck right there, Danny. And then I guess they'll have a novelty, a Hungry Bear mason jar. This is all exciting. Do you think November 15th is a good time? How do you feel about that opening date? Before we move on.
I think they were probably shooting for a much earlier date, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think people have brought it up on Twitter in regards to the issues that Tiana's Bayou Adventure has been having in Walt Disney World, where they kind of rushed the opening on that one. I think they're trying to make sure this is programmed right, that it runs and runs and runs and runs with no issues,
Yeah.
and that they can open this and have it consistently running. Um, I think that's more important to them than trying to rush it open, and it gives them something to talk about for it's so close at the end of the year that they can tack it on as like a new attraction for the 70th next year. So I think that's kind of also what they were hoping to.
Mm. Yeah, I like the November opening, just because it gives you that sense of like we want this to be a proper opening. We don't want to open, Tiana's arms start working, Lewis's jaw doesn't work anymore because Florida. I think today's the fourth day that it's had a major shutdown. Tiana's is severely struggling in Florida, so I'm cool with it. November 15th, it is what it is. Let's move on. We're going to stay at Disneyland. Walt Disney audio animatronic coming to the Opera House. How do you feel about this, Danny? We've rumored it for a while. We saw the
Yeah,
permit get filed, and it's coming! Walt Disney to Disneyland!
this is great. I think they did the best of both worlds, right? They're going to have a new experience inside the theater that will celebrate Walt's life, Walt's history, and really be a showcase for the 70th anniversary, which I'm sure they're going to go all in on as far as advertising. Um, I'd almost go as far to say, Mondo. Obviously, by the time this attraction's open, we won't need virtual queue for Haunted Mansion, but there is nowhere to wait in line at Main Street Opera House. So you best believe that's probably going to be virtual queue to do this.
Opera House is not meant for these massive crowds that are going to want to see
No,
this.
and it's going to be jam packed in there if people want to do this. So, um, but the cool part about it is we got an article, and I can't remember if it was LA Times or OC Register, but they talked about how they're investing like over $5 million into the theater to build a new roundtable technology on the stage, and because of that roundtable technology, they're able to preserve not only this new show, but the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln show, so that it can rotate and still do both experiences. Now, it's
This is a
not
huge
as
update, dude. Huge.
yeah, it's not as immersive of an experience as far as like taking up the whole stage,
Yeah.
because the Lincoln one had like the whole balcony with like the sky behind it. So there is a little bit of loss there, but you still have the Lincoln animatronic, and I'm sure he's still going to give his speech, and it's still going to be the basis of the attraction overall. But it'll let the attraction run simultaneously with both options. So one is called the new show is called Walt Disney: A Magical Life, and then the other one is of course Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln, and they'll both be available. What I want to know, Mondo, is if they're how they're going to change up the lobby outside of it. Now it used to be, um, directly in front of the theater. It's all about like our nation's capital. They have a model of the Capitol there. They have
Do they take it out? That's
they
the
have
question.
well, no, what I'm thinking is that the Disney Gallery section in front of it used to be like a rotating exhibit. Maybe now it's just an exhibit for Walt Disney. So like the first half is Walt Disney, and then the other one stays like U.S. Capitol presidential theme.
So maybe they go into the archives and pull out just a bunch of cool Walt Disney stuff, the public doesn't get to see. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be cool, dude. I can't wait to see that. Most recently, we had like Pirates of the Caribbean, Haunted Mansion figures and artwork. Uh, they had like a Dumbo statue. Do you remember that? Yeah.
yeah. They had a that was for like the live action movie
The
because
Disney
they
one.
had a Disney 100 exhibit going on.
Yeah, dude, a Walt Disney exhibit. It's gonna be cool. You're right on that. Why wouldn't they do that? That's a great. It's a great combo. You got to look at all this Walt Disney history and then have Walt Disney talk to you. I've asked around about Walt Disney and what he's going to be saying. Supposedly, it's not going to be an AI thing. It's going to be actual Walt Disney's voice, stuff from the archives. So that's really cool to hear because I was curious how AI is everything these days, Danny. But I'm excited, dude. Very excited for this one. Let's keep the topics going. I want to go into something Danny loves, and that's the world of Pandora. What was your first reaction when this picture came up on the wall, Danny? Not even the land. I'm talking about the ride now. The ride. Let's go into the ride.
Well, we kind of knew what it was already, but it was just cool to see additional concept art just to get scale and everything, right? And they talked a little bit more about what the ride would be and how it would take a thrilling turn. And that's when I knew that we'd probably be getting like the Shanghai Disney technology for Pirates of the Caribbean. Because that's it can have moments where it's like a calm boat ride, just like Pirates of the Caribbean, but it takes a thrilling turn, and the boats start to move in directions you don't expect.
Yeah, and like underwater, you got to escape. It has
so I think this is a really cool. That when they said that, I was like, oh, we're gonna get a really like a boat ride. This will honestly probably be like the best ride at Disneyland, like hands down.
Mahewa. We've been rumoring it for a while and speculating that it was going to be Shanghai coming to Disney for Pandora, but now to like them to pretty much confirm it, I think the same thing, Danny. How does anything beat this ride? This is unreal. We're getting a 2025, 2026 technology Shanghai Pirates. And with the franchise that is going to keep moving forward because there's an Avatar 3, Avatar 4, and I wouldn't doubt there's Avatar 5 in the near future, in like the future. How do you feel about this though, Danny? Because now that we get this full concept art, not like the other one that was kind of more zoomed in. This is massive, dude. Massive.
It's crazy how big it is. It's like, and I want you to also pull up Google Maps in the background just so we can showcase it. But yeah, there's go back to that concept while you're doing that. Can you do both, or is that not possible?
What do you want me to Google Maps?
Just the area, like DCA.
Let me see. Disneyland, Google Maps, satellite, I guess. Satellite view. Let me see. It's just working.
And I think I posted about the Avatar land as well as, on Twitter and on Instagram and stuff like that. And even people in this chat are saying like, I wish it wouldn't be coming. Like the next thing we're getting isn't Avatar because they don't really like Avatar or they don't have like an affinity towards it. But I'm telling you, when you like not only is it the most popular movie franchise ever to exist, it like as far as the world is concerned, not just within the US, but like it's one of the most popular theme park expansions Disney's ever built, and it's made them the money in return like 10 times over. There isn't a time you visit Animal Kingdom that it's not like a 2-hour plus wait for Flight of Passage, which I don't even know if we're getting a ride like that at ours, but I would imagine something like Shanghai Disney technology for Pirates of the Caribbean mixed with Avatar would garner the same weights. But if you want to go back to the concept art real quick, Mondo, the scale of this is exaggerated, right? So like beyond the berm, like the spiky wall, it's probably going to be like, it may be some of that scenery, but that'll be like painted on a wall or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like a show building behind that.
Yeah, like we can kind of guess like in the valley there is like where we're going to see like most of the stuff, but it's cool to see the extra things like that we're noticing. And if you zoom in on the artwork too, you can kind of even make out where there might be a second attraction. So that's kind of the interesting thing. But the main water focus here is where like the boat's going to be going in and out of that water area, and into the show building beyond. So it's going to be quite an impressive attraction. Um, and a lot of people are saying like, oh, like where is this going to go? Um, and we have a pretty good speculation of where it's going to go, and it's not where you would think. We've talked about it on the show before, so if you've watched the show before, you kind of already know. Most people are assuming this is going to go in Disneyland, um, forward new expansion pads, which would be like the Simba parking lot on the left side of the Pixar Hotel. But that's not where we're getting information that this is going. So what we're looking at right here on Google Maps is the Transportation Plaza, aka the Harbor Boulevard entrance to Disneyland. So when you're walking in off of Harbor Boulevard, you're getting dropped off in a Toy Story bus, you're getting dropped off in a hotel shuttle. That huge Transportation Plaza that the monorail also drives right on through backs right up to Disney California Adventure Park. And those two buildings there are Monsters Inc. and Stage 17. So what we're hearing is that Stage 17, Monsters Inc. will become casualties of this new expansion. So bye-bye Monsters Inc., bye-bye Stage 17, which is a big deal for Disney because Stage 17 makes them a lot of money with private parties and things like that. So this expansion would have to be monetarily like positive for them to be able to get rid of something like that makes them money, right? And expanding the park with these massive attractions would allow them to raise prices, sell more tickets, etc. So it probably does make sense. But essentially, Disney California Adventure would basically spill out and almost have its border touch Disneyland's border.
So crazy to hear that.
Yeah.
Real quick, Danny. Anthony, 23 months! I'm most excited for Avatar World, especially because it's going to be different than Walt Disney World. Since they have two rides, what do you think the other ride is? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Danny mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. It is rumored that Avatar Land at California Adventure will have two rides. Not one, two rides. Two. But also real quick too, thank you Anthony for freaking 23 months. We got my Alyssa dropping a Venmo super chat. Dropping 10. Split it with Danny. Glad I got to see the Parks and Legends panel in person. My biggest con is the merch. No Duffy? And cute girly pink merch? Where was that? I don't even think I saw a reference of Duffy. I don't think Duffy was at the park or at the D23. And Nate Dogg in the chat, not Hollywood Lounge. Yep, Hollywood Lounge would be a victim of that as well too. So, no, not just that. You know who else is a victim? The good old Hyperion.
Hyperion, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, dude. I can't. Yeah, this is getting wild. Wild!
I really want Mondo to put on Twitter like a concept of like all those things X'd off so people know. But essentially, Danny, for those that are wondering,
look at
that are wondering,
it's a lot. If you go Stage 17, Monsters Inc., Hollywood Lounge, Hyperion, Toy Story drop-off, that's massive space, dude.
Yeah, it's a lot of space that they can add there. It's certainly as big, if not bigger, than Pandora World of Avatar in Disney's Animal Kingdom when you consider all that space there. Now, you might be saying, well, how would people get into Disneyland? Well, don't forget, they're going to start construction this year. If Mondo just moves the map over a little bit, where we were at, they're going to start construction on the new parking structure. And the new parking structure is going to be bigger, right, than what we already have on the other side. And they're going to push a lot of guests into that new parking structure. And we can expect a lot more guests who are parking there, maybe that are coming from, like, any guests coming from the south will probably park in that structure. and then any guests coming from the north will probably park in the good old Mickey and Friends / Toy Story or Pixar. But this parking lot here, these are Disney owned parking lots, and so that's where the new parking structure would go, around this spot there, and that would also include a new transportation plaza to replace the one that's getting built on top of for the new Avatar expansion. And then a bridge would cross the street over the flattened hotel, which is now part of the parking lot, right there, kind of towards the top. You can see it
Right there.
right there. Yeah. So that used to be the Carousel Inn. Disney bought it a long time ago when they planned to build this back in 2016, and that was going to be the area where the bridge would cross. So essentially, somehow you'll enter Disneyland that way with the bridge, and it will go around the addition of the Avatar expansion, including we're hearing too, like maybe they're having to move the monorail as well too. Maybe the monorail doesn't come this direction. So in past
monorail.
Years, in past years, you would never have thought that the monorail would be moved, even going as far as Disney built a whole theme park around the existing monorail and a hotel, and they didn't move it, even though they could have, because it was too expensive to do. So if they're willing to move the monorail for this expansion, you know how that's important to them, that they're willing to do that. So
is it because they
see
a lot of money coming?
If we see any changes coming to the monorail, you know that Disney means business when it comes to this.
Because they don't want it.
The monorail is expensive to move. It is so expensive to move. So,
dude, wild. When I look at this concept art, Danny, I just feel I am no longer in Anaheim. Like I'm with the Navi, dude. This feels like it gives me the vibe of Disneyland, Danny, where the outside world cannot be seen anymore. I really feel that way with this ride. Or this
Disney with Denise said what would replace the Hyperion? Nothing. It would be either this
a show building,
or it would be this, or Avengers. The Avengers ride building would need to kind of go that direction for the new ride that they're building. So
look,
they have
everybody.
To get rid of it.
Let me show him, Danny. Let me show him. Where's the Hyperion? Tell me where it is.
It's not there.
Oh, man. I have to ask the question, is there another platform or a stage, a show building that could be used for entertainment in the near future, or in the current California Adventure and the current Disneyland? Is it just going to be Fantasyland Theater? That's kind of it when it comes down to a theater show.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe that doesn't stay. Maybe they make theater shows exclusive to cruise line. And if you want to see a stage show, you got to go on a cruise.
Woo! Or Broadway, right? Disney Broadway.
Yeah.
Damn, that'd be dirty. You want the Disney entertainment? You got to go on a cruise line. We got a super chat from Becca45. Will animation studios stay?
I think so. It's not really in a space that they're trying to influence. I don't know how they're necessarily going to make it so that there's certainly going to be some sort of portal, right, that you walk into to get into the world of Avatar from Hollywood. And if it would make sense if you walked into a movie set, right? Like a studio, like a soundstage, and then all of a sudden you've transported into a portal that is on the other side, like Avatar. Maybe they go Galaxy's Edge style, where you kind of go underground for a little bit on a dip down, like you do right there in Fantasyland, and then pop back up to come into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Maybe they do a similar reveal situation for this.
Yeah.
And Disney's been kind of loving those new magical portals into different lands, right? We have the magical portals leading into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge with the
Toontown. Toontown?
Yeah, they changed the bridge into Toontown to be a magical portal as well, and you're hearing the pixie dust effect with like all the toon sounds popping in because you're supposed to be transporting into the toon world from the regular world.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really jumping heavy on these like portals kind of situation, which is almost funny because they kind of started doing it first in a little bit of a way, and then now Epic Universe is like going hard into that with like portals that you jump into.
Like, we're gonna do portals again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't gonna let them be the only ones doing portals. We got Joe Jay. What's up, Joe? Damn, 26 months. Mondo Danny post D23. You know I'm making time to tune into this. I missed a whole weekend for my best friend's wedding, and good God, best D23 ever. Best D23 ever. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I hope you had a fun time though, dude. Freaking wedding, best friend, you can't beat that. We got Dan the Turn Man dropping a super chat. I know some folks were bummed we didn't get much about Disneyland's 70th, but they did say more news will come later. DCA needed this badly. Badly. Let me go to that one, Danny. I got your tweet up, actually. I was like, Danny, when I from home, I was like, ooh, they started off with the Disneyland 70th? Where's he going to go? What's Josh going to say? What's going to get announced? Nothing! You got nothing! You lose! You get this logo. That's what you get. It's just a logo. I don't know when Disneyland's 70th announcements are going to come. I'm guessing like maybe January. But there's
a little bit closer, maybe. Maybe a little bit closer. We got an unveil of the merchandise, right, at D23, which now some of that will start showing up at the dress shop and maybe in the other shops, but it debuted there first. And then we got the 70th logo debuted on the medallion that they put in the parks on D23 Day, and now here in the panel. We know that the Walt Disney show will debut during the 70th, and Tiana's Bayou Adventure will technically debut right before the 70th kicks off. So we know that there's stuff coming. We just don't know what it is yet. But yeah, like Mondo said, they did have a creator meetup inside Disneyland actually it was at Disney California Adventure Park. With all the creators that were invited to D23, and they were told that some Disneyland specific smaller announcements, including Downtown Disney, would be coming later this week. So expect some news this week and or maybe next week about some of the smaller things that they wouldn't want to put necessarily in a giant presentation where musical artists are announcing the news. So
yeah, it just doesn't even feel right, I guess you could say, to talk about Disney's 70th when like you have Villains Land, to finish it all off. Villains Land, we'll get into that later, but we got Joe J. Oh my Lanta. Oh my Lanta. Wow. Joe Jane, thank you for gifting 20. I had to read that right. 20 gifted memberships. Everybody that got a membership, can you guys drop 5 fires, please, for Joe Jane? I just want to see the whole chat just lit up with fires, man. Thank you, Joe. Wow.
Thanks, Joe. Wow, that's a lot of members.
That's freaking crazy, dude. Man, y'all, thank you for all the support. Also, too, we got over 700 people in the chat. Can we smash that like button? I don't even know how many likes we're at. We're at 265. Let's get a 500.
We have an additional 200 watching on Twitter.
I know, dude. 940 people just concurrently. This is a massive live stream right now. Let's keep it going, Danny. Smugglers Run. I'm trying to start off with all the Disneyland stuff. because I feel like the Magic Kingdom is gonna. I feel like it's a bigger topic of conversation. Smugglers Run. Is this like 3 years too late?
Yeah, it was late for the right reasons, right? We've been promised new missions for Smugglers Run for a long time
From
now,
the
but
beginning, I felt like it was from the beginning. I thought.
yeah, it was, but maybe like I said, for the right reason, because now we're gonna get Mandalorian and the Grogu, and it's gonna really breathe life into this attraction again.
Oh, big time, big time.
Yeah, it's gonna bring the crowds. People are gonna want to experience it. They're gonna want to do it again. The kids are gonna love it, and it won't be as predictable. So it'll be fun.
Do you think they hit us with the Mandalorian theme song?
I don't know. I like the fact that you go on that ride and it's the only place that you hear the John Williams score for the land. So
yeah,
selfishly, I hope they don't.
You know what I thought was weird? How is the Millennium Falcon connected to Mando? I guess the timeline. Who cares? We're just doing cool stuff. You know how I look at it? Just keep doing cool stuff. I love this. I don't care about timelines. This is awesome. We get to battle and see Mando at work. Because Mando's badass. The stuff he does is badass. All right, let's go to the heavy hitter. At least for me, the big heavy hitter is Coco, Danny. We got Coco coming to California Adventure. It was a boat ride mania of announcements at D23. It's going to be the music that you know and love. It's going to be the characters that you know and love. So pretty much the movie. You're going to be going through the movie. And they kind of mentioned that like they're going to get some Haunted Mansion feel and some Pirates of the Caribbean. That's where they're drawing inspiration for this. And it's going to have the state-of-the-art animatronics. This is going to be phenomenal. The music is already very strong. The message behind it all, it's going to be beautiful, dude. Before I keep going, how do you feel about Coco coming to California Adventure?
I think it's great. I'm glad that California Adventure is the first park that's going to get the Coco tie-in. You would think that the easiest tie-in for this would be the Grand Fiesta Tour at Epcot.
I know, Daddy. I thought it was going to go to Epcot, dude. And then he announced California Adventure. I was blown away. I was like, what?
Yeah. So I'm, and it's funny too because he brought up Coco, and if we remember last D23, he did the whole blue sky stuff that everyone hated, and he mentioned Beyond Big Thunder as having a Coco themed land and attraction. So I don't know if you want to pull up that concept art, Mondo. But type in Beyond Big Thunder Coco Land.
Beyond.
Maybe that'll give us an idea of what we can expect the outside of this attraction to look like whenever they do build it. Now, people have been asking me where I think this is going to go, and I literally have zero idea. Other than this is a future spot that they could utilize for like those expansion pads to the left or to the right of the Pixar Place Hotel. In which case that would mean this is like really far out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a concept art that they showed us last time.
It's so funny because this ended up as Tropical Americas, which is nothing of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, so this was the Beyond Big Thunder, which now is going to be the Villains Land, and you can see there in the concept art, the Villains Land is there. It's just in the back. Mm-hmm. And so, but you can see on the left side, they have the cemetery, where Miguel enters the land of the dead, like in the movie, and that's kind of like the entrance to the attraction. So that'd be really cool if they did that in DCA. I feel like people would really appreciate that. Plus, they had that whole like little Mexican village that Miguel's from in the front half.
Wow, dude, this is big. This idea, this is not small. Because you already know Coco ride, if it's drawing inspiration of Haunted and Pirates,
It's gonna
this
have
is
a
a
big building.
massive building, probably just as
Yeah.
big as freaking Avatar, and even King Thanos. It's gonna be gigantic building.
Well, pull up just to give the viewers an idea. Pull up the satellite view of Disneyland again.
Yep, got it.
Move it over to Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland.
Pirates of the Caribbean, right here.
So look at that right there. It's those. It's basically those two things right there.
It
So you
is
got
Pirates this whole
go
thing.
back. It's both of those.
Oh my god, dude! Pirates is huge. It's funny because like you don't think of it as this gigantic building. You know what I mean? You're just like transferred it to this Pirates layer.
Yeah,
Pirates.
there's some Club 33 mixed in there, but majority of that is like Pirates, and then you can see how the part where it connects would be like the drops that go down.
Mm,
So
uh, this is huge, dude. Yeah. Um, a lot of people have said Coco is gonna go uh, right here. People were saying it could go right here, Danny. This back area. I don't think so. I don't think.
no, I mean it could, but the problem is that building right there, that really long building,
Yeah.
that building houses the parade floats, and that right there, literally right around the corner from it, is the entrance to the parade route. And
Yeah.
you got to have some sort of infrastructure in place to house the parade floats, because you got to have maintenance crews working on the parade floats. You got to be able to store them, and you got to get your entertainers on and off the parade floats in a protected area like that. And that's the parade entrance. So unless they're going to just cancel all parades at
No.
DCA,
Hell no.
yeah.
No way.
So
Look,
I
Danny.
don't necessarily know that it'll go there.
I have a feeling I know where it's going. Right there.
Right there.
That's where Coco's going.
Yeah. I also think it makes the most sense that it's going there, but if that's the case, that means that it's probably going to be a really long time. So we'll probably see Avatar first before we see Coco.
Yeah, I was gonna say they go into right here, Danny. Get ready to celebrate everything you know and love about the movie and music. The work beginning on the attraction is 2026. So, obviously a long ways away, but it's supposed to be done in 5 years. I'm gonna stick to. I'm gonna reference 5 years forever until everything comes alive. I think I'm ecstatic for this ride. This is going to be a fan favorite, dude. And one thing to kind of full circle all this, Danny, you know what I keep seeing? High capacity rides at DCA. Can you talk a little? Can you talk a little bit about that, Danny? High capacity.
Yeah. They don't have any of these, and this is the problem that Knott's Berry Farm has, right?
Oh,
that there's not a lot of high capacity rides, and they knew this from the beginning, so they added Ariel's Undersea Adventure, which is like Haunted Mansion, right? It's just a ride that never stops moving, that people can just get on and get off, and those attractions let people experience them over and over and over again, like really fast every hour. And so it allows people to, a better chance to be able to ride another attraction, or have guests not walking the pathways and eating up guests, which therefore also increases capacity. So they don't have a lot of those. All the other attractions have long waits with very slow loading, and Credicoaster doesn't load all that fast. The Ferris wheel definitely doesn't load fast. You could argue maybe Web Slingers does, but it's not really that fast because you have like a pre-show and everything. It's not just like a constant like load. And then your other attractions like Guardians of the Galaxy, that's like one of the slowest loading rides ever, especially if they're down a shaft. Radiator Springs Racers, not a high capacity ride.
Yeah.
So it's just like they
Every
don't have a lot of that.
Every car ride not high capacity.
Yeah, like Disneyland has like Splash Mountain, soon to be Tiana's Bayou Adventure. They have Haunted Mansion. They have Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a small world. So they have all these rides that just eat up a bunch of people, thousands per hour.
Yeah.
Uh, so that
Yeah.
they can just really knock out, and even like Buzz Lightyear's high capacity too.
I
So
I kind of feel like Star Tours too in a way, man. Star Tours goes through the line fast. That's
yeah,
how I
so
feel.
these boat rides, constantly dispatching boats, like that's what they need. They need that to bring more people, to experience attractions and go through this experience. Um, but adding a Coco area, where they can celebrate like Dia de los Muertos and like the Plaza de la Familia, maybe in this space rather than Paradise Garden Grill, like
Opens it up,
talk about talk about a win for Disney and Halloween at this park. You know what I mean? And Christmas.
dude. Unreal. Pretty much from like May to December, there's just energy the whole time. We got Disney guy dropping a super chat. Coco will go in Goofy ride in Paradise area. Have you heard that one? When I
No, the problem with that is that people aren't thinking about the fact that the ride building needs to exist, and the park stops right there. There's a road there, so like there's nowhere for the ride to go. It's like,
that is small. There's no room. There's no
yeah, there's
room.
no room there. There is no room for. Look how small Goofy's, and then you're backed up right to a hotel. Like there's literally no way that would work.
Yeah.
So
And let me just reference it one more time, just for perspective again. Look at this building. Is
yeah,
this?
that's how much space they need to build a ride like Coco. So that's a lot. It's a lot of space. And
That's
if you move up further, Mondo, you can see Haunted Mansion.
yeah, look at that thing,
Yeah,
dude. It's just massive building, dude. And then even bigger one is Rise of the Resistance. Look at look at the size of these buildings, dude. That's what Avatar is gonna look like right there. Literally,
dude,
probably bigger.
you should show them how big Flight of Passage is.
Yeah, let me see if I can put it in real quick.
The Avatar land in Florida, their buildings are like insane, so
Avatar.
big. When you see them in person, they're like huge.
All right, I got it.
And the thing with Florida is everything's so flat there. Their buildings just stand out.
Look at this thing, dude. Dude, it makes the parking lot look small right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, that's Avatar Land right there. Wow. You see, look now when I look at this, and we were looking at that stage 17 area. Totally possible. Totally.
totally,
Yeah.
totally possible.
I want to go to one of the biggest announcements, Danny. Villains Land. I talked to Jared. He said the crowd erupted the loudest for this land.
It did. It did. Nothing else excited people more than this did.
What are your thoughts, dude?
Did you
Because
see down at the very bottom? There's a roller coaster zooming by with like waterfalls. What
badass.
the heck is that right there?
Absolutely bad. I don't know, dude. This is uh, this is just freaking phenomenal. Now that like, and look at this. There's a freaking dragon just shooting fire right here. And the roller coaster, I don't know if it's the same one or not. It goes in this back area. Um, how do you feel about Villains Land, Magic Kingdom?
I think it's great. I think there's a lot of. I think Kitra actually from Ordinary Adventures. She put her thoughts out on Twitter, and they were exactly my thoughts. I just didn't put them out on Twitter, so I just ended up liking hers instead. But something like this, and something like um, the new kind of like Frontierland edition with cars that they're putting on, it really helps turn the Magic Kingdom into something that people will want to go experience, right? She put it into words right now, like the Magic Kingdom is really just kind of like a really weird clone of Disneyland. that kind of has its own feel. You know what I mean? And it's there's not really a lot of incentive for people on the West Coast to want to travel there and experience the Magic Kingdom. And she put I think a follow up to that saying that like Magic Kingdom, or she said in the first chat, she says the Magic Kingdom is her least favorite park, and I agree with that. Coming from a California native, when I go to Walt Disney World, I don't even like to go to the Magic Kingdom. I love the
Daddy,
People Mover.
haven't I been saying the same thing too since the day
I
I went?
love the People Mover.
I've been saying Magic
Uh,
Kingdom's boring.
I go. This is what I do when I go to the Magic Kingdom. I go directly to the People Mover and I ride it like once or twice. Then I ride Tron as well because
Yeah,
Tron's cool.
Tron's badass. Yeah,
Uh,
I,
I do Carousel of Progress because respect. I do I do the what is it called? The Hall of Presidents if that's open, and I do the Country Bear Jamboree when that was different too. Um, I used to really like doing their Splash Mountain because it was so much different than ours. So I'll have to see how their Tianas compares to ours, right? Like how different that is. But like it always felt weird to me, like walking into Liberty Square, like it was kind of small and like it was always so weird to me how like Haunted Mansion was just like crushed into Liberty Square, like around the corner,
you're
and there's
like
like no,
Sleepy Hollow, chicken and waffles,
and then Haunted
Haunted
Mansion,
Mansion. No, no,
yeah,
no.
and it
The
was just like
President's Haunted Mansion.
yeah, and it was like Haunted Mansion like had barely any room to like fit. Like it was just like crammed in there. And then it was so weird to see like Splash Mountain like directly next to Big Thunder and that they're like literally touching each other. Like the queues touch each other. And it
Yeah.
was just like it was almost like they crammed it in and like, because they wanted to fit the Rivers of America into it and I personally like never really experienced Tom Sawyer's Island or Rivers of America, so I don't have like an affinity to any of those. I know people have, you know, childhood memories riding the Liberty Bell, which is their Mark Twain, and going on Tom Sawyer's Island. So for them, it might be a big loss. But for me, I agree with Kitra in the sense that um, it really makes the Magic Kingdom feel so different, right? I think people have this appeal of Shanghai Disneyland or Tokyo Disneyland just because of how different it actually is. And you're like, oh, wow, I want to experience that because it's so different. And
Yeah.
like, when you think about the concept of like the Magic Kingdom, like having this like cool wilderness frontier with like this car ride, and then like beyond it, there's this villains land, and like that entices me to like want to. That's like that brings together the theme of like a Magic Kingdom, and like this is not like Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
This is not Walt's Disneyland. This is Magic Kingdom. Walt didn't build this. Like this is not like they just try to like replicate Disneyland again when I feel like the right move is what they're doing and like making it unique and special, and it needs to compete with Epic Universe, and this is how it does it.
You
So
know
I
how I feel about it too, Danny? Um, Walt Disney World doesn't have the luxury of like they can't do little things that please like that please I don't know how else to say it, that please the locals. I think I almost want to say it like the people that continuously come to the park. Walt Disney World has to have people travel to this location. Has to have people book trips, stay on
yeah
property, take advantage of these benefits of staying on property early. You need people to want to travel to Walt Disney World for long stays and whatever the case might be. Every single one of these, I want to travel to every single one of their opening days. I want to be part of this, all of this. This is incredible, dude. Like
yeah
I
and
can't
the
believe this
thing
is
I like
happening.
about the best Mondo is that like at least Monsters Inc. aside, Villains Land and the Frontier area, those aren't like there's not like immersive lands cut and pasted from a movie. They're they're like original concepts for Magic Kingdom that just so happen to feature intellectual property, which is kind of like what Disneyland had, and Disney and Magic Kingdom with like some of the Fantasyland rides and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool that like, that isn't Radiator Springs. It's like it's almost like a ride through nature's wonderland, which is kind of like a Disneyland OG Frontierland attraction, but you're doing it on cars and you're racing through water, you're racing through mud, and
Guys,
it
ice.
seems pretty cool, like a really fun like tour kind of attraction that's fun for the whole family and thrilling as well. And it's not necessarily like Radiator Springs, so it's not just like a carbon copy of what's at Disneyland, but it still lets fans of the movie Cars have their own space and experience on the East Coast.
Yeah. Real quick, Disney guy also dropped a second super chat. Uh, Avatar will go in Symbolot. Concept art proves it. Disney guy, can you send me a message that whatever part you're talking about for Symbolot? I want to see it. I want to see it. But thank you for the super chat. I'm still gonna go that it's stage 17. I feel like any day now we might hear about Avatar because
Mondo has gotten too much proof.
yeah, yeah. This crushed a lot of dreams today, Danny. This concept art that we're looking at is the Cars attraction that's coming to Walt Disney World. Nobody knew where it was going, but Tom Sawyer Island, Rivers of America. What do they call their boat again? It's not Mark Twain. It's the Liberty Bell.
Liberty Bell.
The Liberty Bell. All leaving. I look at it as it is very sad because that does add this like nature aspect to it. It's just very calming. But now everything's gonna change and I guess you could say be energy. What do they call it? Kinetic energy. There's gonna be things moving and
Yeah, I think that's the coolest part about it is all the kinetic energy this ride's gonna be with all the cars zooming through the different front parts of Frontierland.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be kind of cool.
Yeah, and at the same time, Splash Mountain will have boats running through. Thunder Mountain has things running. I want to be part of this, Danny. This looks incredible. And then
I always thought that. I don't know about you, Mondo, but if you can think back to one of the times I've been with you to Walt Disney World, I always thought. Again, we talked about it a second ago. I always thought it was weird that Splash Mountain was right next to Frontierland. It's like Big Thunder. It didn't really like make a lot of sense thematically, like when you were there, like going from one to the other. It always jarred me a lot for them to just be like, oh, they're like right next to each other and they're like totally different.
Yeah.
So
I feel like scarred now that this is coming to Magic Kingdom. I kind of feel like Magic Kingdom to me now feels more California Adventure. You got your Trons, your Cars Land to Thunder to Tiana's, and it's just like a hodgepodge of things happening. It's not really like a Disneyland, like where things are making sense. But whatever. I'm cool with it. I ain't got no hate. To me, it just makes me want to travel to Walt Disney World, and that's exactly what they want. And I don't doubt that there's another Cars movie in the near future, especially after Cars 3. It was really good. It's cool, dude. It's freaking cool.
Yeah.
I just want to get.
It looks cool. Like, look at just go back to the concept really quick, Mondo. If you look at like in front of Big Thunder, there's like. They're like incorporating the landscape like into the existing ride. So like that part of the ride, there's like geysers, like because like there's already that kind of landscape around Big Thunder. So like they're incorporating that into like this. You know what I mean? Like it's like they're making it all one giant like Frontierland. And that was like always kind of the weird thing about Frontierland is that like it wasn't really all that big because if you've ever been there before, it's just like a pathway and then the river. Because like the river's like it's basically like
Frontierland is like what are they called? Those like it's like a circle, like people live in like a
A
circle thing.
cul-de-sac.
It's like a cul-de-sac. That's their Frontierland.
Yeah, it's basically just like buildings on the left that are like shops and like Country Bear Jamboree with
Yeah.
like Pecos Bill at the end, and then they squeezed in 2 rides at the end, and then that's it. And then because technically Haunted Mansion is in Liberty Square, so like it's like you'll walk into Frontierland and it's just like this vast frontier in front of you
I
with like
I
the
I
attraction
feel
right there.
it's more Frontierland now. That's how I feel. This
Yeah,
is
and then
Frontierland.
now your eyes will be directed directly behind to like the peaks of Big Thunder at the back, the very, very back of the land.
That's
So
really cool how the incorporation of it. Yeah. We got 28 months. Jay Alacrone, let's go. Fires, Jay. Mondo, you guys are doing an awesome job with all these updates. Thank you, man. I appreciate you for supporting the fire for 28 months. Oh yeah. Thank you, Jay. Um, I want to go over to Monsters real quick, Danny. I didn't know that there was this lore. I think it was Scott Gustin that just tweeted that it took like this idea has lived for like 17 years. Have you known about this? That like Monsters Inc. has been rumored for that long? I didn't know that
no,
was a thing.
I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I
And
think
then
every person, I think
I was
every
in the,
person that watched the movie probably assumed that they would build a ride for that.
yeah, I was just gonna say. Alicia Stella said something like, "A good idea never dies," and I was like, "This is a perfect example." 17 years later. Um, how do you feel about this one, Danny? Because this is obviously a big kid ride right here.
Dude, this looks like the funnest thing I'll ever ride. Like, I
Wow.
can't wait to do that. It
Yeah.
looks so fun, and seeing the track for it at the pavilion in Imagineering, that was so cool. Um, Seeing the like how they're gonna do it. It's so funny, like seeing Alicia Stella. She's been trying to like figure out where it's gonna go. Like she's like, I can't figure out where this is gonna go. I don't know where it's gonna go. I was talking to, and for those that don't know, this is going to be going in Disney's Hollywood Studios. But you can see there it has a dual load station. So then they come out, and then they go into the Monsters Inc. floor and the scare floor, and then you're going through all the doors, and it's just going to be this fun like. It
Awesome.
doesn't really. I don't necessarily know that it goes upside down, but
Yeah, I'm
like
gonna say it doesn't. I feel like
yeah,
it's
I don't think it does because the doors don't really go upside down. So
yeah. It's just you're just a door going wherever you're trying to go. uh, the reason I bring this up, Danny, if Avatar does take down Monsters Inc., are we gonna see Monsters Inc. come back strong at Disneyland Resort like this? Are we going to be blessed enough to get something crazy cool like this at Disneyland Forward? Or Monsters Inc. might just be a Walt Disney World thing?
we'll have to wait and see, right? They've got a really cool ride at Tokyo, Monsters Inc. It's like a
The Flash?
search and scare with the flashlight. That's really fun. Cool concept. So, uh, people are like, I was talking to David Vaughn, and he was saying like the animation courtyard could be where they put this because there's already kind of like that walk up space in front of it with like a big tall building that's the Star
Mm,
Wars launch bay right now. And that could be the Monsters Inc. thing. And then there was like Alicia Stella saying like, well, what if this just replaces uh, the Rock and Roller Coaster, which is a crazy thought because that ride is aging, although they just retracted and redid everything. Um, but I don't know how people would feel about if they took away Rock and Roller Coaster.
let me see. I'm trying to find her tweet that she made. I can't find it. Man, I don't know where it's going to go. I feel like Disney will break everyone's hearts soon, though. Oh, man. Um, I want to bring up this one, Danny, because this one I feel like people have rumored, but now that we actually got to physically see it, it was pretty mind blowing that this is real. Oh my God, Max going for the long one. Splash Mountain Lion King. What are your thoughts on this, Danny? Because when I heard Splash Mountain Lion King, I was like, this is awesome. And then they were like Disneyland Paris. It's like, what? Oh man, what do you think? Because they also have a scale in Imagineering Pavilion.
Yeah, when you look at the concept art for the attraction, or the model, excuse me, in the Imagineering Pavilion, it you can almost pick up that it has the same layout as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, because if you look at the section of the drop, it does a drop, and then it does a turnaround, an abrupt turnaround, just like ours does. But it has the double wide logs like Magic Kingdom, and then it does a little bit of an S curve and then goes into a tunnel again. So that's almost like exactly like the way that Splash Mountain is set up, or Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And I don't know if Paris has a. I don't think Paris has a Splash Mountain. I think only Tokyo does.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them because they don't have this ride. So now they have it, but it'll be at Disney Adventure World instead of Disneyland Paris.
This
So
ride's gonna be badass, dude. It's
yeah,
gonna
but
be badass.
if you look at it like just imagine like Tiana's Bayou Adventure, but like as Lion King instead, it'll be cool. And with the land around it being like matching the Lion King vibes, it's giving me like Animal Kingdom. Really cool.
Dude, this is gonna be stunning in person. And I talked it over with Jared, Danny. I don't think I had a chance to talk it over with you. They showed the live action concept art, but they, in person, Josh said animated, right?
Well, I think he just said as we celebrate 30 years of the animated classic, um, we and then he was basically just saying like, hey, because Lion King just turned 30. Um, Speaking of, I've got the vinyl hanging on the wall behind me. They actually sold that at they sold that at D23, and it was they had the Disney Music Emporium booth, and I snatched that up right away because um, I've been waiting. I've been sitting on like maybe getting a Lion King vinyl, and this one was cool because the disc is a zoetrope. So like if you film the disc spinning on your phone, the disc comes to life because it's like that zoetrope, you know.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, it's cool. So it's like animated. Um, but yeah, so he was just. I think he was just saying that 30 years of
So
Lion
you
King.
you're going. You think it's gonna be live action then? Because that's
Well,
what
yeah, the
this is.
concept art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Weird move, but whatever. It is what it is.
Well, I think I was talking to Jared, and Jared said that like the movie made over $1 billion because of Europe. So like
So that's why they dropped it there.
Europe is where it did really really well.
Uh,
So
uh,
um, so this it makes sense for them to do that there.
if they ever brought it Animal Kingdom, you think they go live action again? They just live action it, or the animated.
No, if they brought this ride to Animal Kingdom, I think it would be live action because it
Mm,
makes more sense that way.
I know. I feel the same way. Uh, like say this would have came to Magic Kingdom, it would have made sense to go animated. I think that's how I feel. Um, Now that we know this is coming to Paris, do you feel Tiana's and Walt Disney World should have just been a different IP and have Tiana's be only Disneyland? Because it almost seems like Tiana's is like, I feel like that's the last time they're gonna do like a clone. I feel like Disney's moving away from complete clonage. They're done with clones. They don't want to do that no more. Do you feel like Tiana should have been something else? I know the right like everybody would say Moana, but I want Moana to have her own thing, be brand new. I feel like Pocahontas would have been great over there. But how do you feel about Tiana's and the clonage?
Yeah, I think just based on like the times and what Splash Mountain like was representing as far as its movie history. I think the only move for Disney in their eyes was to switch it to something like Tiana's, um, for both of them. At least where they had control over it. They don't have control over that in the Oriental Land Company, so Tokyo Disneyland still has Splash Mountain, but they don't necessarily have a reference as to what Song of the South is or was.
Yeah.
Um, they just like the characters in Splash Mountain because they think they're cute. And so yeah, I don't necessarily. I think it's up to Oriental Land Company whether or not they change Splash Mountain to something else. Maybe they get this there. You know, they haven't done theirs yet. It's still Splash Mountain. So
Well, but in Splash Mountain over there, it's bear country. That's their whole theme. It's a thematic. The land is bears. So I don't know.
yeah.
I don't think they ever go away from it. It's just Splash Mountain forever. That's what I think. Tropical America is coming to Animal Kingdom. This is huge. We're gonna get Indiana Jones and Encanto, the casita. They actually had a model of all of this, and we had a chance to see it in person because Imagineering Pavilion. Shout out to them for dropping all this. Where's the picture? There we go. There we go. Do I have one of like a wide?
That was a good picture, Mondo.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I had like a kind of just. I really got all zoomed in here. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
That shows you all the ride buildings too.
Yeah. How do
There's
you
three of
feel
them
about?
in three different tiers.
How do you feel about the Tropical Americas?
I think it still keeps on theme with Animal Kingdom, right? They each section is themed to like a different, very nature centric area of the world, right? So they have Asia, but it's like Southeast Asia, so it's like the Indias, the Nepal. It's not like China or like any of those. It's like basically like Southeastern Asia representation. Then they have Africa, and then Latin or tropical Americas is where the rainforests are, right? So it makes sense to have like an Indiana Jones in the rainforest, and like and most of the rainforests are in Costa Rica, right? So like the food is like probably very similar to that what you'd find in like Colombia, Costa Rica. So it makes sense that Encanto's there, right? Because that's
Yeah.
like supposed to be in Colombia too. So um, it it definitely fits in with the theme. There has to be some sort of conservation theme if they're trying to keep the original theme of Animal Kingdom, because that's what like Joe Rohde always brought everything back to conservation. So like maybe there's something about that, and that we find out more about as we get closer to it. In the panel, they did say um, that the ride would be going from house to house inside Casita, and
Mm-hmm.
then eventually would end up in a pinnacle inside Antonio's room, which is that shot that you saw in the concept art, where they're all together inside the like rainforest looking room, which is his room, Antonio's room, uh, where he's the one that can talk to animals. So it kind of
This
makes sense if you
scene,
think about it.
this scene's gonna be mind blowing in person.
Oh, I know. It makes sense if you think about it, though, based on that ride vehicle or the ride building that you showed on your concept. Um, like, see how it's like in tiers, like stepping up. So like, it would make sense that the ride is like going up different levels because you're like climbing the stairs of the house. So
Huh?
like that
Uh,
could be how I picture it in my brain.
like it's like a Pirates of the Caribbean that goes up instead of down.
Yeah,
As weird
because
as that.
they said you'd be going from room to room, and when they're in the house, there's like stairs, and like the rooms are upstairs, and like there's different like areas of the house, so it would make sense that you're like climbing higher within the attraction.
Man, I when I take a step back, Danny, I can't believe Disney is doing this much construction in the domestic parks. there's obviously more going on at the other parks, but these challenges that they're about to do, it's unreal. Have you ever seen the Disney company go this hard all at once in 5 years? A 5 year plan like this?
Well, I think the reason why is like you kind of talked about it, like in a post-COVID world, um, the company kind of switched, right? It became where the theme parks were the most profitable aspect of their business. It was bringing like billions of dollars of revenue, whereas in the past it was a very small portion of their revenue, and the movies were bringing in the billions, and it's just not that way anymore for them. So. Whereas they might have dumped in billions and billions and billions of dollars into like making movie after movie after movie after movie in the past, now it kind of seems like they're doing that, but like doing attraction after attraction after attraction in the parks and realizing that their experiences are a lucrative business, especially with like the millennial generation getting older, um, and Gen Z, like as people start to age, they want to travel, they want to and the millennial generation just in general has always been more interested in like experiencing and doing things like theme parks, rather than like buying a home. They'd rather like rent a house and just like go spend their money on traveling and experiencing things. I feel like there's always been more of an affinity of millennials liking theme parks over like other things, and so I feel like that aspect has like as they grow older, it's going to be a big demographic for them to try to like tap into.
Well, as I guess you could say, we get older. The 25s to 40. Uh, they got you covered. We got the Disney Cruise Line lined up for you.
Yeah.
This is I can't even wrap my mind. Disney's doing all these things around the world, all the media stuff, movies and TV shows and video games, retail, and then they're doing how many ships is it? 13, I think.
13 ships.
13 freaking ships, Danny. Um, any quick thoughts on the Disney Cruise Line? This like this like this like full force attitude on this, because I feel like there was never Disney Cruise Line news, and now we hear like once a month something new, a new ship. It's being built in 2 years.
Yeah. I think they just realized that there's like the cruise business is really lucrative. Disney's starting to really make a name for themselves there, and I feel like all the different cruise lines are finding their niche. I don't really think that Disney competes with like Carnival. Um, they certainly don't compete with like Virgin Voyages, which is only for adults and no kids allowed. I think their direct competition is Royal Caribbean, and they need to really step up if they want to compete with Royal Caribbean, because like they truly like own that space, and like the Royal Caribbean ships like really do cater to like the family,
Yeah.
and so does Disney. And so I feel like that's their direct competition. So they're trying to like increase their fleet to like go to all the same destinations that Disney does. Because it used to be like Disney only had a cruise line that only left from Port Canaveral and went to their private island, and they also had one in Mexico. Like, and that was kind of all it ever was.
Yeah.
And now they're like, we're gonna have a ship in Asia, then we're gonna have a ship in Japan, and we're gonna have a ship, that travels the Mediterranean and like all kinds of stuff. So, um, they could have a permanent ship that's always going to Hawaii. I know they do sometimes, but like now they could, with all these ships, they could have one just always going to Hawaii,
Like
and then they can have one always
one
going to Alaska.
I was gonna say I want a California one all year long, like San Diego base. Just please give us
Yeah,
one, dude.
and they could, but
Let,
it's like,
let me ask a quick question, Danny. This one is a wild card, and maybe we'll refer back to this live stream one day. Do you think the cruise line and the amount of expansion that they're doing with new destinations, new ports that they're going to be, is this Disney's way to build audiences in the future and bring fans that didn't have a Disney experience that all of a sudden can have a Disney experience. And I'm talking about international. And maybe this could be a way to test markets. Do you get where I'm going? Do you smell what I'm cooking?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah, like it could be a way for them to like. They were talking about in the panel that we went to, you and I, Mondo, in regards to the career of Bob Weiss in Imagineering, and
So cool.
He was talking about how they planned for so long to build a Disney in Australia, and then it ended up transitioning very abruptly to China instead of Australia, and they like abandoned their plans for Australia. And so like maybe this is a way, like you were saying, for them to like bring that Disney experience to Australia, and they can have a ship that's like sailing out of Australia.
Yeah.
So I know that they could have like a ship that is like in France and Italy, like
Yeah, that's
just
what I'm
kind of wherever
saying.
they want.
What about what? Okay, I'll get a little more detail. What about if they really start like, hey, this one country or this one specific like land or just area, we're seeing strong demand for Disney. People want a Disney cruise line, and then maybe Disney builds into something there. You know what I mean? And then, for all you know, I just want to throw it out there. For all you know, maybe a new international Disney park is on its way. And maybe the Disney Cruise Line is like their way to like inch towards more international. You never know. You never know. So that's all I got to say about Disney Cruise Line. We did get a super chat from Ian Grimm dropping 5. Danny Mondo, did you hear anything about the ride vehicle for Encanto? It looks similar to Mystic Manor. Thank you for all the coverage. Have you heard? I have been hearing that. I didn't really have a chance to look at it. Where is this Encanto? Where did I put Encanto? I probably got out of it. Did you hear any rumor or speculation about that, Danny? That it could be Mystic Manor technology?
No, I didn't. I think people assumed that just based off of like the way it sounded like it was traveling from room to room in the house, just kind of like what Mystic Manor does, and that would make sense. And it's probably something that they could incorporate pretty easily if they've already done it before, and then just use like modern day technology for animatronics. That scene right there, if those are animatronics, that would be insane.
You know the vibe I'm getting, Danny. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm getting Spaceship Earth vibes. That's what I'm getting. Because look at this guy right above my head. He's turning his whole neck. So the ride vehicles are not really moving. It's just straight ride vehicles. I don't know. I'm getting Spaceship Earth vibes. I don't know why. That's just the vibe I'm getting.
Like maybe it's an Omni mover.
Yeah, just a continual. Because this is just. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this could be that like an Omni mover. I guess. Yeah. But maybe they try to go hard, go Tokyo status. KJ 29 months. Oh my Lanta. Do you think if they retheme Splash to Lion King instead of Tiana, it would do better? Lion King makes more sense as a water ride than Tiana, to be honest. It's too late. It's too late. That's the problem. It's too late. There's no changing. I think Lion King is going to be incredible land, incredible ride, incredible experience. They'll probably have entertainment to go with it all. Tiana's, I don't know. We're going to see how it plays out at Disneyland, but at Walt Disney World, it's not playing out very good at all. Ride's breaking down horribly. So we just got to hope they fix the ride over there, and it is what it is. I don't even know how they could make it better at this point in time if like animatronics are not working. It's gonna be a tough journey out there in Walt Disney World with the Tiana. But I don't know. I feel like Tiana here at Disneyland, it just makes sense. It makes sense. The weather is way better. It's Walt Park, first of all, so they ain't gonna mess up Disneyland. But I'm excited. I'm excited. Is there anything that I missed, Danny, that you want to go over, or like just any other topics or
No,
subjects?
I think we covered most of the major announcements. Like I said, in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to get some Disneyland specific announcements. Like, Mondo and I have been talking a lot, specifically me, on this podcast show, about like the Esplanade getting redone, and if we're getting something like Avatar in the transportation plaza, it's the Esplanade's gonna. It makes sense. Like everything is making sense, right? When you think about it, like if Avatar is truly going on top of the transportation plaza and halfway into Hollywoodland, that would change the whole look of the Harbor Boulevard entrance, which in turn would also change the Esplanade, right? There wouldn't be a need for ticket booths. The ticket booths already aren't really used anyway. They're currently already starting the renovation on the turnstiles at Disneyland side. We know they're going to do the same thing at the DCA side. Um, Another thing they're already doing right now is they're finally, after all these years, changing the security checkpoints to be a more permanent structure,
Mhm.
since they're not going anywhere at Disneyland. And we know already that the new parking structure on the Eastern Gateway, so the one that they're building behind all the hotels on Harbor Boulevard, we already know that it's going to have a similar setup to Mickey and Friends, where they have the security there. So there's no need for security in our Esplanade anymore on the Harbor Boulevard side, because it's all going to be going through the parking structure, and so the Esplanade will change. And I think this is why we haven't had any announcement or starting construction for Portos. Portos is just so happens to be sitting inside the Esplanade. It's the last building in downtown Disney, the Earl of Sandwich second location, aka the Libre Bakery building. That will be demolished, right? Rumors are the fountain is also going to be demolished, the flower fountain that's right there.
We already saw
Uh,
the other fountain get demolished in front of Splitsville.
Yeah, exactly. So we know it's happening, and so a lot of people were saying, like, coming up with these rumors that Portos is being canceled. I think Portos just maybe got pushed back, because all of this construction like wasn't planned before. I mean, maybe it was planned in the future, but
Not
it wasn't
approved.
planned like it wasn't planned now, like to happen now. And
Yeah.
now that like the Esplanade is going to go through a renovation, I think it delayed the construction of Portos, because they're like, why put up walls around this section when like potentially the whole dang Esplanade is going to have walls everywhere. We're talking like removal of like all the groundwork in downtown Disney is already going through renovation to have that new, more modern feel to it. And you can see right here in the when Mondo was in the actual Esplanade on the screen here, you can see the vinery in the ground that's like continuing that garden theme that no longer exists inside downtown Disney. So they're probably going to redo this anyway. It's already in the plan. Um, so I think there's a lot coming to the main entrance, like change wise, as far as construction. It's going to be Walls Disney for a while again.
Yeah, big time.
So, but I think that's what we'll probably see announcements of in the next few weeks. Maybe an announcement of like when they're going to start construction of Portos. Maybe an announcement of what the barbecue restaurant is going to be at Tortilla Joe's, and what the steakhouse is going to be at Tortilla Joe's, and whether or not the Patina Group still owns that restaurant or not.
Um,
Because they used to, right, for when it was Tortilla Joe's. So there's still a new entrance being built. Currently, I don't know if you saw it recently, Mondo, but over the D23 weekend, um, they've already got the structure in place for the permanent security building that's going outside Din Tai Fung.
oh, it went
Um,
up. I didn't know that.
so so they're still keeping that as an entrance too. So that'll be a nice to not have a Costco folding table and green tent right there. For security, they'll actually have a permanent structure there for a proper entrance into the Disneyland hotel. Um,
Because
my guess is it'll be like a Disneyland hotel specific themed. I could even see them having like a Disneyland hotel signage like above that security entrance to like indicate like this is for Disneyland hotel, and you go left out the new entrance if you want to go to like the downtown Disney exit, and like that's kind of how I picture it. Um, but yeah, there's a lot probably still coming that they can announce, but they just didn't want to showcase in the event. And maybe we even get to an announcement for an opening date of the Parkside Market, because that's getting kind of farther along too.
I hope I think it's going to be this year. I could have sworn they said this year.
Yeah.
We got Johnny dropping a super chat. Just wanted to say a huge thank you to Mondo and Danny for the coverage you guys did for us, specifically you, Mondo, since you weren't there for Saturday. Thank you for the stream. Much love to the Mons. Thank you. By fire! By fire! Go! Thank you. Thank the Five Fire community. Y'all came strong for this D23 weekend. I felt like through Danny and everybody, Drew, we kept every update. Like I don't think we really missed anything. Just the Stitch reveal. I feel like that's the only thing I missed because I had to end my live. But dude, D23 has just been awesome. It made me feel so happy to be a Disney fan this past weekend. But thank you, Johnny. We also got 20 months. Go, Ian. I heard Omnimover 2. That is okay. As long as animatronics are great, Dak could use capacity, Mondo. You are like the CSI of concept art. Amazing. Animal Kingdom kind of has capacity, right? They got the train, Kilimanjaro, I guess Flight of Passage, kinda, but not really. Animal Kingdom, I go for the vibe. I don't really go there to be like, I'm going to ride all these cool rides. Before I close it out, I got to talk about the Animal Kingdom. I don't want to miss out on this conversation. Animal Kingdom, Danny, it looks like 3D is coming to Animal Kingdom. It's all the way at the bottom. They kind of like snuck in this poster. I don't know how it felt in person, but one thing that you notice, these characters have 3D glasses, Danny. So that
they announced this already, that the It's Tough to Be a Bug show is going away and it's being replaced by Zootopia.
But I could have sworn it was just the light show, not underneath.
No, it was they announced that it was taking over the It's Tough to Be a Bug. I forgot where they announced that. But
maybe it was a Destination D23 or something.
Yeah, Destination D23, I think. But they showed like the concept art. It's like the same theater and everything. It's just going to be Zootopia instead of Bug's Life.
How do you feel about this bringing of life of Zootopia to Animal Kingdom?
I wanted Zootopia to have like a land,
I know.
not just like an attraction. But we'll see. We'll see how it looks. I'm all for anything Zootopia. So I love Bug's Life too, though. So
dude, Bug's Life just got evaporated from Disney parks. Just goodbye. We got a super chat. Johnny dropping another one. Last thing, can we get a live stream on Disney Plus as a pay-per-view option for D23 2026? Come on, Disney. I will pay for it. I would have bought it. I would have bought it in a heartbeat. I don't know what it would cost to get the panels live stream, but yeah, I would have done it, man. I would have done it. Thank you, Johnny. Closing thoughts on just D23 as a whole, Danny.
Yeah, I hope we get some specifics. I really want Disney to let us know exactly where Avatar is going to go. So the speculation back and forward can stop, and people can just know like where it's gonna go. Um, and then and it's weird to think too, if Coco is going in those Simba parking lot expansion pads, um, if they're starting construction on that in 2026, like where do they put people who want to park for downtown Disney? that's like that's crazy to me. So I don't know.
But what about if they get dirty, Danny? They're like, you want to come to downtown Disney? You will park on the other side of Harbor.
I mean, they honestly could do that. They could do that, or they could just say, if you want to come to downtown Disney, you have to park in the Mickey and Friends structure or Pixar Palace.
Damn, Disney just charges $25 at that point. I don't know. Parking, by the time you know it, it's going to be $50 in like 5 years. I already know it, man. We got, oh damn, the nostalgic Latino. What? What's up, dude? Shout out Mondo, Danny, and the rest of the Five Fires fam. Just wanted to show love for all the coverage you do when I can't go to the parks. I watch and listen to you guys. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you. And I love your video you did with, I'm just going to say it, with Gambit. I watched it like 10 times when I saw it. But thank you, Nostalgic Latino Five Fires, man. Awesome interview. I saw your reel today. Closing thoughts, though, Danny. Like just overall, my bad. I feel like I interrupted.
No, I loved the panel. I love D23. I'm sad we have to wait another 2 years, but I think in 2 years we'll know a lot more specifics that they can share, details and things like that. So that's why it's kind of exciting. And I even think that the Imagineering Pavilion will be a lot better next time around because now that everything's on the table, they can really flesh out the pavilion with just the details for all these things. Because there's like they don't have to worry about like hiding things back from being unveiled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we probably might see a full Avatar by next D23 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Avatar ain't gonna be done in 2 years. No way. We got Carla and Kiko. Carla and Kiko, let's go. Thanks for all the hard work and day out. 37 months being part of this awesome community. Hell yeah, Carla, Kiko. I saw you guys were traveling today. I don't know if you said where you guys were going. I don't know if I caught that. I just remember I saw the travel. Did it say? I just saw you guys were eating a warm breakfast and traveling somewhere. Okay, they haven't said. So, Carla, Kiko, safe travels wherever you're going. My closing thoughts. What an incredible weekend of D23. From the movies to the Disney parks and experiences to the Disney Legends, which I heard was very emotional and awesome, to all the panels and just seeing the power of Disney at work in so many different levels of like in-person experiences. It was just awesome. Disney really went to entertain, and it showed. It really showed. And at the end of the day, that's what Disney is, an entertainment company. And I feel like I feel like they hit a home run. They truly did. I'm very excited for the future of Disneyland Resort. At the same time, Magic Kingdom, but Disneyland especially. This is just the beginning. Because when I talked with Jared, Danny, his big thing was that this is Disney's lower of their expense, because the second 5 years, the 5 year, 6 year, 7 year, 8 year, 9 year, 10 year, that's when they're really going to drop some money and expansion. So I don't know what the hell's coming at that point in time. But oh my gosh, dude, Disney flexed their muscles like I've never seen them do in my lifetime. Like for me covering the parks, it's been unbelievable. I just want to say thank you, Danny. One more time, where can people find your content, just to let people know again?
Yeah, content this week will be the podcast, which is the 5571 podcast. It'll also be on my YouTube channel, Just Ask Danny. If you want to follow me on social media, also Just Ask Danny. You can go back to all my tweets from the weekend. I've tweet mania'd all weekend long. I think my most popular tweet from the weekend was like my thoughts that I put together at the end, and then also my post about the pretzels.
Yeah. Hey, we want good priced pretzels. That's never a bad thing. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to tonight's Speculation Sunday on a Monday. Don't forget to smash that like button. And we are firing it down. The Cali Bay and Just As Danny are calling it a day. I'm the main host, Mondo.